Hello, I'm John Butler of Hypnotherapy Training International. And one of the topics that often comes up is what is the difference between psychoanalysis, as developed by Freud, and advanced analytical hypnotherapy, or analytical hypnotherapy, hypnoanalysis as it was called. We call it advanced analytical hypnotherapy to really bring it right up to date with all the developments that we now had in the last 100 years, which have moved things on a lot from the times of Freud. Now, psychoanalysis and other thought therapies, they grew out of 19th century hypnosis. And there are overlaps between psychoanalysis and there are many differences. Freud came to reject simplistic hypnosis and later said, of course, he changed his mind and said hypnotherapy, hypnosis had a part to play in psychoanalysis, but the damage was sort of done by then. He developed free association and using dream analysis to get to the deeper content of problems, to get into the unconscious. He early on came up with the belief that if we could have an intellectual understanding and control of the subconscious, then the problems would be resolved. But intellectual understanding is not enough to control the subconscious. And it's only one level of understanding, as important as it is in life. So that began to falter as a treatment method. He developed an interest for quite a while in emotional catharsis, that the release of the cathartic energy expression, let's call it that, the ventilation of emotions, would help the person become at least free of symptoms and get some insights then into their condition as well. Now, Freud had a very negative view of the subconscious, what he called the id, really, essentially, in many ways, which roughly equates what we call the unconscious mind very often in psychology. He had a theory of the sexual etiology of the neuroses, and he had the concepts of the Oedipal complex and the Electra complex as some of the main problems buried in our subconscious level of mind. He did spend a lot of his efforts trying to prove his theories, which wasn't the best way to really test their validity and to help the patients, actually. But nevertheless, he was a pioneer of sorts. Now, out of some of the work of his followers, developed ego state therapy, the idea of almost separate subselves within us, that are ego states that are different to each other, sometimes conflicting. And in a strange way, his successors came round in a circle to what hypnotherapy had discovered in the 19th century before Freud, but with different language and sort of a different conceptual framework. The Freudian view was a rather pessimistic, and some would say very pessimistic view of human nature, a depressive view of life in so many ways. He had a strong interest in psychopharmacology and did feel at one point that it would replace psychoanalysis, that the psychological treatments through medications would develop to the point that that would be the best way to treat things. And he did get stuck on cocaine and drugs himself at certain points. So the hypnotherapy view, in the modern era at least, is a very different view of the deeper mind, of the subconscious mind. And it takes a much more direct and quicker approach to using the subconscious mind, which it sees in a very positive way as a creative force, a healing force within us, which does get misprogrammed. It can get some negative messages in there early in life, which can plague us for the rest of our lives. Now, the advanced analytical hypnotherapy course we teach has many methods, many tools available to uncover the true nature of the subconscious blocks and conflicts and the negative fixed ideas that are lodged there. Old life scripts from childhood, from family dynamics, from social influences, which have created sensitizing events at the time and even traumas. These will often stay in the subconscious for many, many, many years. They can be outgrown to some extent by people. Different forms of therapeutic approach may mitigate their negative effects on life. But in many cases, because they went into the very foundational level of development of the mind and went in a very deep subconscious level, they often retain negative power through a person's life. Hypnotherapy, we believe at the advanced analytical level, has the ability to disempower these contaminating forces, to decontaminate the subconscious then, to deprogram and reprogram the subconscious, because it isn't always that mysterious what's gone on. We've been programmed with negative beliefs about ourselves and the world, often through parents doing their best, but having their issues, their limitations, and then we're exposed to many negative influences out there in the world at different times, which can penetrate the mind and drag us down, bring us into sort of self-destructive behavior. So we are re-educating the subconscious and conscious mind together, bringing them together for a very healthy level of integration and mutual understanding and connection. And that's a wonderful thing. We teach self-hypnosis. We teach many wonderful methods, a great range of knowledge from psychology that's been developed, not only from the last 100 years, but in fact, if you go back, there are psychological insights from very ancient philosophies, religions, and so on that can be used as all part of hypnotherapy theoretical base. And above all, hypnotherapy is based on dealing with what emerges. As we go into the subconscious with our advanced clinical skills, this is what you need to be able to deal with problems well. So analytical hypnotherapy needs to be studied properly, and not in a piecemeal and fragmented way. We have a long track record and history in teaching advanced analytical hypnotherapy, sometimes under the label of transforming therapy, developed through Gil Boyne and his development of work from Dave Ellman and others, and his extensive studies with many famous psychologists, psychiatrists. He developed a very powerful knowledge base for this work. So you're not drowned in theory, but you're learning the theoretical constructs and concepts that are the most valuable and important to know, so that your approach with all of your skills is really solid and workable and produces the results that we see time and again with advanced analytical hypnotherapy. And that next advanced analytical hypnotherapy course is coming up in September 24. Please visit our website, hypnotherapytraininginternational.com, for information on it. And feel free to contact us for more information, for information about literature around the subject, or in any way that we can help you. We're delighted to do so. Thank you very much for listening and watching.